Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Darkhorse Dental Success Pod. I'm your host, Reuben Camp. This week, this is going to kind of be a 411 on ransomware, and very timely because the hackers are targeting the healthcare market. And what we're seeing is a uptick in incidences where offices are getting ransomware, their backups are being compromised, and fortunately, we're getting calls from new clients, new prospects when it's too late. And when I mean it's too late, I mean the only avenue is to pursue paying the ransom. So I wanted to kind of put out a public service announcement out there because there are some things you can do as a business owner, not as a Darkhorse client. We got your back there. But if you are not a Darkhorse client and you're listening to this, there are some things you can do to secure your practice, right? Luckily, they also align with your HIPAA compliance requirements, right? So this is not anything above and beyond you need to do already as a business owner in the healthcare space, right? So let's go over those things. Actually, before we do that, let me just talk about some general stats. This is even before the surge of, the surge of attacks that we've seen. There was a large dental IT provider compromised in San Antonio earlier this year for about 400 offices. And then just over 200 offices were about 15 days ago, also in San Antonio, separate company. Those dental offices were affected through their backup systems directly. And we're working with one office right now that is still down. So that is, this is very disruptive. I mean, it's not just the stress of your office being down. It is the stress of everything else, including loss of production, not being able to tell. If you don't have your schedule, you can't tell who's coming in. Maybe you have a schedule printout from last week and that's all you got. It's extremely disruptive. So the good news is there are some very basic things you can do to make sure that your practice doesn't have to deal with this, or that if it does happen, it's locked down and there's a plan in place to get you guys up and running as quickly as possible. So first, ransomware in the dental industry is almost like drivers and how we think about drivers. And what I mean by that, only 6% of offices, when they're truly assessed, are HIPAA compliant. However, we see that 90% of those offices, 90% of the entire pie, think they are. So we have a big information gap between the doctors thinking they're HIPAA compliant and people, the experts like us, saying, no, you're not, right? And that has always been a struggle of mine in terms of how hard do you push, because some people are very, they're very closed-minded, right? They're like, yep, no, someone, my Benco, my Shine rep told me I was, and you can't do anything to change my mind. Obviously, that's not going to be a very good relationship for us. I want to talk with people that are willing to look at new information, right? They'll do an assessment on your practice. We'll show you how this is not being addressed. So that is the gap. That is my struggle. I've been running Darkhorse now for 8 years. That single data point explains most of my my daily life, where I am the crusader that's like, God, you can just do a couple basic things to secure your practice, and you don't have to deal with this crap, right? Because loss of production a day pays for IT for years, right? It just the calculus is fairly simple. So what I mean by the driver analogy is 97% of people think they're great drivers, right? And we know by driving out there are not 97 out of 100 great drivers out there. Maybe half of that, maybe a third of that. However, all of us on the road think we're amazing. So it's a very interesting analogy that perception versus reality. Sometimes there's just a huge gap. The other thing that we're fighting this year is obviously COVID happened, right? And COVID is now a verb. As state and local and federal governments fully realize the revenue shortfalls from COVID. You think about sales tax. I think about, where I live here in Ithaca, New York, Cornell University, and those students bring so much sales tax revenue into this economy. Not having that for 3 months, not even a full year, we're just talking about 3 months. We're talking about millions and millions of dollars to a community of 30,000 people when the college students aren't here. So, I mean, just like as these governments realize their budget shortfalls, they're going to say, how can we get that money back? Maybe they can't get it all the way back, but how can we get this back? And one of those ways is going after doctors and dentists and chiropractors in the healthcare industry, because it's not a sympathetic industry, right? No one ever felt bad for a surgeon. No one ever felt bad for a dentist, and if dentists keep, shooting animals in Africa and posing in front of them, they're really not going to be sensitive to that. I joke, of course, a lot of startup doctors are just grinding away. But the thing is, it's that perception thing, right? Like no one ever felt bad, when you're at, Thanksgiving's coming up and, your cousin introduces their boyfriend, they're a dentist, like you're not feeling bad for the cousin, right? That's all I mean. So we see a perception gap. So people aren't protecting themselves. We see a realignment of governments that need money. They're going to be more aggressive after going after offices that are not compliant. And then just the math of the average ransomware payout per incident is up 140% since 2018. So just 2 years ago, we've seen a skyrocketing and in the price that is being requested to get your data back, right? So the average cost of ransomware caused downtime. So this is cost to your business, not just payment to the hackers, is an average of $283,800. So you think about the office that we're working with right now to get them back up. They've been down 15 days. They're doing. It makes sense, right? These calculations, I get it. Our job to protect. We work for almost 600 dental offices now. That's what keeps me up at night, right? Luckily, our software stack that we provide to our clients, this is not something we deal with on a daily basis, even on a weekly or monthly basis, right? This is very rare for us because we are very proactive and we do have a plan in place, separate backup system that is not directly connected to the server in case this happens, so we can get our clients up right away. But again, luckily, we don't have to deal with this on a monthly basis. This would be a huge time suck. This would be all we would be doing, right? If our software stack was not how it needed to be. So what the reality is, dentists really need help protecting their patient health information. Excuse me. They need help reducing their liability, right? So if you're not working with a dental IT company right now, that risk sandwich per se, how it's called in our industry, the risk sandwich, it's either something the dental business owner is taking on by themselves, for a 10 operatory practice, 10 computer practice, 10 operatory practice, obviously much larger. Say a 10 computer, 1 server practice, your risk sandwich is somewhere in the tune of $300,000 to $500,000 if there was a breach, right? So it's, we're talking at some point about insurance somewhere along the way, right? There are some certain things you need to do to either take that risk profile, that risk sandwich, I keep saying it, and shift it to a partner of yours, like a Darkhorse, like there are other great IT companies out there. Ransomware is not going anywhere, right? So the need for a proactive, forward-facing IT partner is more important than ever, right? And this is going to be true for cloud and for local offices. 6% of all dentists in the United States last year were affected by ransomware, right? So think about that. And I'm sure if you're thinking right now to yourself, not just in the dental industry, I'm sure you can think of a colleague right now that had to deal with this and frantically called you, like, who are you using for IT? I never want this to happen again. And I'm sure you can think of also other stories of colleagues and friends in other industries, and even just, grandma at home getting affected by this. So 85% of attacks were on Windows-based operating systems. That's most of what The dental industry is. So, that makes sense. And that's why we designed our backup systems so they are not, the core system on it is not Windows, right? So when something gets onto the network, even if we're just doing backup for an office, we're not doing the full HIPAA compliant suite, the backup is not compromised. So it's a really good system in that way. Didn't want to take up a ton of your time. The things that we do on the IT side, just like what you guys are doing in the dental industry, these are not sexy things, right? We're backups and we're talking about firewalls. We're talking about antivirus software. Talking about practice, man. Just getting a little Allen Iverson reference there. But these are things that need to be done, right? You need to brush and floss your teeth twice a day, every single day. You're gonna have problems. I want you guys to think of security, how you protect your practice, most importantly, how you protect your patients' personal health information, not just their medical history, their social security number, right? All of that is, if exposed, that is a breach, right? That is a breach in the sense of the government will treat it like a breach. It's also a breach in the confidence that your patient has put into you, right? And this is why we sign up for insurance, right? We're trying to take the most terrible things that can happen and either eliminate them from being possibilities, make someone else pay for them, or reduce the risk so low that we can sleep very well at night. So, what we're trying to do is make you guys HIPAA compliant so you don't have to do that. Absorb the risk that's on you personally and on your business. And we don't want you to worry about ransomware, right? That is time and money, and some would argue those are both the same thing. So be diligent. If you're working with an IT company right now that you trust, I would say reach out to them and have them do a risk assessment for you to show you how they're preventing this from happening to you. If you are someone listening to this and you're like, what do I do now? Well, give us a call, right? This is what we do all day long. My email is admin, ADMIN, @darkhorsetech.com. And email us, reach out. We'll design something that's specific to your office and make sure that you're taken care of. So just please do something. Again, it does not have to be through Darkhorse. Just do something so this does not have to happen to you. This is not going anywhere. As I mentioned, the healthcare industry it's a market that can pay the ransom, and the information is highly valuable. So if anything, this is going to be an escalation. And what I am seeing and what I'm reading and my colleagues are seeing is that once the technology of ransomware gets to a point where they can detect what information that they are encrypting, and they know it's a dental office, they know it's a healthcare facility, they know it's a medical office, heck, even if they know it's a police department, right? The payouts are going to be unreasonable, right? They're already unreasonable, but if they know who they're dealing with, they're going to make up a number that is not going to be great to look at. So that's it. This is the 411 on ransomware. Be diligent, use trusted partners, get yourself protected and taken care of, and hope everyone has a great rest of the week.